Hello students, this is Dr. Mercado speaking. I'm going to be doing this short lecture to go over group project number 1, requirements, expectations, instructions, grading rubric. I'm going to try to provide as much information as I can. That way you can have it available, and after you review all of this information, if you have any specific questions, please let me know immediately, okay? So group project number 1 deals with accounting principles and forms of business organizations, and this is for my Accounting 2401 Principles of Financial Accounting, Summer 2022, okay? Now I am going to jump over to Blackboard, which is where you're going to find all of the information about the project, okay? So let me go ahead and go over to Blackboard, okay? So once you log into Blackboard, the group project, students are going to begin working on the group project during week number 4. So let's locate week number 4, week 3, week 4. Here we have week 4, test number 1, and we're going to begin working on group project number 1. If you hit the down arrow, it's going to open information about the group project, okay? My lecture is over the group project in this particular case. So we want to make sure that we locate the folder with the group project. Now, during week number 4, you're going to begin working on the project. The project will not be submitted until week number 5, okay? Week number 4 is for students to identify who is on their group, establish communication with their group members, distribute the work amongst the group members, establish deadlines as to by when does each group member need to complete their portion of the assignment, when are you going to get together to put the presentation together, to review each other's work. That is very important. We need to make sure that we do a peer review each other's work, make sure that that the other students satisfy the specific requirements assigned, that you make revisions to it as needed. So you all need to establish all of these deadlines. How are you going to communicate? Are you going to be using WhatsApp, Teams, Zoom, whatever is it that you prefer? There is no preference for me. Whatever, this is a group project, your group project. You decide how you're going to be communicating with your group members, and what is it that you're going to be doing, okay? So if you go to the group project folder, you're going to have, currently I have 2 items. I will be adding one more item as the time for the group gets closer. I'm recording this lecture before the week, but I will be adding one more component, which would be the group list. And I don't do the group list until the very last minute because I have students that are dropping, that are not participating. So I don't want to include students in the group list that are not active in the class. So I wait for the very last minute to form the groups. But I will be assigning students to a group, so you will find a file that has the group distribution, and I will make that information available to you as well, okay? But on top of the group list that I will be providing later on, these are the requirements of the project, okay? The first thing that we have are the group project requirements, okay? This is what your group has to work on, okay? So, learning to work in teams is very, very important, and it's something students do not know how to do. Students do not know how to resolve problems that happen in a group, how to collaborate, how to organize. They are lacking a lot of that, and those are skills that are necessary for when you enter the workforce. That is why I have group projects in the class, okay? You're going to have 2 weeks to work on the group project, which is more than enough time for what the project requires. So you have more than enough time if you begin working on it from the time that I give you in week 4. Okay? If you procrastinate and leave it for the last minute, you're not going to have an opportunity to finish it. So it's very important that you organize your time. Students need to establish communication with their designated groups immediately. That is the key. Immediately. Okay? Clear deadlines need to be established within the group and identify the best way to maintain communication. How are you going to communicate? You exchange phone numbers, you create a chat, you do whatever you need to do, okay? A date must be specified for which if a group member does not respond, they are going to be excluded from participating in the assignment. You cannot be waiting around for students to respond. So you're going to be very clear. Someone needs to take the initiative to send out an email or a Blackboard message, a Pronto message, whatever is it that you use, and you're going to say on that message, This is group number 2. These are the group members. If you do not respond by Wednesday, you will be excluded from the group. Okay? That way, you know that if by Wednesday certain individuals don't respond, then those individuals are going to be excluded. Okay? And you can start working on the project. Okay? You cannot be waiting for 2 weeks for someone to show up and, oh, yeah, I want to participate. Okay? We are adults. We have deadlines to meet. You need to be checking your messages, your Blackboard, everything on a daily basis. So there is no excuse. I don't want to hear, Miss, it's because I work. Miss, it's because I understand that we have busy schedules, but it is your responsibility as a student to make sure that you log in and you check your correspondence, your pronto, your email, whatever is it that all of the different communication routes that are available. Okay? So make sure that you stay up to date. If you don't hear anything from your group members, then you reach out to your group members. Okay? So specify a date. I don't want you coming to me next week, week number 5, on a Friday afternoon and say, hey, Miss, I haven't heard from 3 of my group members. So what have you all been doing for the last 2 weeks? Waiting around? No. Okay? Very important. Communication gets established immediately. You set a clear deadline as to by when they have to respond. If they do not respond, they will be excluded. End of story, and they will get a 0. Okay? Only those students who actively collaborate and contribute to the project will earn the assignment points. Okay? If a group member is excluded due to the lack of participation or communication, please let me know. Send me a message, a Blackboard message, and say, Miss Juan, Pedro, Maria, or whoever was excluded because we tried reaching out to them on multiple times. We send out a message on this day, and this day, and they have failed to respond. So we are excluding them, and you copy those students. That way they get the notification. You know what? I messed up. I didn't communicate, and my group has decided to exclude me. And they're moving on without me. Okay? So notify me, copy the student or the students that have failed to respond. Okay? We are all adults, and we need to take responsibility of our work and make sure that we check our Blackboard and that we take our group deadlines very seriously. Okay? I ask that we please behave cordially. We respect each other at all times. No bullying. It's a group project. It's intended for you to work together, to help each other out, collaborate. If someone doesn't know how to do a specific thing and you know this is a group contribution, I will not be grading the assignment based on your section. I will be grading the assignment as a whole, how cohesive it was as a whole unit. Okay? So once the final group project has been compiled, it is very important that as a group you establish a meeting time to go over the final presentation and make sure that all assignment requirements are met. Okay, I've heard this so many times where half of the presentation is awesome and the other half of the presentation does not meet any of the requirements, and then they get a very bad grade. Okay. Well, Miss, why did we get a bad grade if half of the presentation was awesome? Well, yeah, half of it was awesome, but the other half was not. And I don't grade on half of the presentation. I grade it as a whole. So it's very important that you understand if you have a group member that is not, meeting all of the requirements, you let them know, you help them out. It is a group effort, okay? So the group project is graded based on a group effort, not an individual participation, okay? So this is a group project. Working alone is not an option. I've had many students that have been taken out by their group members because they never responded, and here they come on Friday or Saturday before the assignment is due. Well, Miss, my group members, they kicked me out of the group because I never answered. Can I do it alone? The answer is no. Okay? Working alone is not an option. I placed you in a group. You work with your group. If you fail to respond by the established deadline that your group designated, that is on you. Unless you have a documented excuse that you were not able to adhere to that deadline, then if there is no documented excuse, then there is no excuse. You have been taken out of the group and you're going to get a 0 for the assignment. Okay? So please organize your time accordingly to ensure you maintain constant communication with your group and you meet all established deadlines. Okay. If you are removed from your group due to lack of communication and failure to respond, like I stated, you are getting a 0. Okay. So in this group project, we are going to prepare a PowerPoint presentation that allows students to experience working together in groups to conduct research and prepare a final comprehensive project. A PowerPoint presentation will be prepared in which all members of the assigned groups must participate in researching, preparing the presentation, and recording the presentation's audio. Okay? Make sure that you adhere to all of the requirements. Okay? If not, points will be deducted. Number 1, the PowerPoint presentation needs to be between 15 to 18 slides of content. That excludes the cover page and the reference page. So it's 15 to 18 slides of content. On top of that, I want a cover page. On top of that, I need a reference page. Okay. Notes need to be included in each slide that elaborate on the slide's content. Each slide must consist of notes ranging from 150 to 250 words. Okay. Points will be majorly deducted if you don't meet this requirement. This is where the research component comes into play. Your research is basically the notes that you're going to be included in each of the slides. Okay. The slide's content should include key phrases and points or information. So what you put on the actual slide, I don't want you overloading your slide with information. On the actual slide, you're just going to have key phrases or information. And then the notes is going to be what supplements that information, and that is going to be explained verbally in the audio part of the presentation. Okay. So do not do a data dump and just put everything on the slide and just read off of the slide. No. Get key points, phrases, words, charts, statistics, diagrams, whatever you have, put it on the slide, and then verbally you're going to explain the information using the notes that you have on your presentation. Okay. I don't want you just cutting and pasting what you have on the slide on the notes. That is not allowed. The information on the slide should be different than what the information that you have on your notes section. Okay. Your notes elaborate or supplement the information that you present in the actual slide. Okay. Please make sure that you cite all of your sources both in the actual slide and in the notes. Okay. All group members must actively participate in the research, preparing the presentation, and delivering the presentation. Okay. In addition, all group members must record the section of the presentation you worked on. Okay, so each slide will have audio. Make sure that the audio is clear when you record the audio, that it's in a quiet room. That way you minimize the background noise. I will not accept presentations that are missing audio. Okay, when presenting your presentation section, please state your name so the audience can know who you're speaking. So let's say, for example, you're the third presenter. You're going to introduce yourself. Hi, I'm Dr. Mercado, and I'm going to be presenting the different accounting principles, and then you begin your presentation. Okay, that way I know that this is Dr. Mercado, this is Maria, this is Pedro. I know who is who because I don't see you. Okay, I've had students record the little image, like a little how can I say, like a picture of you while you're presenting. That is optional. It's not required. All I really require is your voice. I want to know the information being presented, but just make sure that you include your name. That way I know who is that person that's presenting that slide. Okay. So just make sure that you state your name and make sure that you present the information. I've had a lot of students had wonderful information on the notes, and when they actually present it, all they do is read whatever they have on the slide, and they completely forget what they have on the notes. If you included it in the notes, it's because it's important. So make sure that you go over the information in your notes section. Okay. A title slide needs to be included. Make sure that you include the names of all of the group members that participated only. Only include the names of those students that participated. A title slide must also be included. The title slide, must also include audio. Make sure that it includes audio, that you introduce all of your group members as well as the title of the presentation. So the title slide must also include audio. Okay. A reference page must be included and the sources organized in alphabetical order. So if we have a group of 4 or 5 students, you have to get all of the references used, organize them in alphabetical order, and then compile a master list. Okay, I don't want 4 different slides with 4 different sets of references. No, it's one complete file. You get everybody's references, you put them together, and then you organize them in alphabetical order. If there are any duplicates, then you delete the duplicates. Okay. In-text citations within the slides and the notes need to be included for any information you obtain from any source. Make sure that the sources you use are credible sources. Okay, plagiarism will not be tolerated. Now we have a CLE lab. Center for Learning Excellence. They have tutors there. They have people that can review your work. If you need any assistance, the CLE lab has a lot of resources available in case you are having difficulties with citing. You can go and get that assistance there. Okay. Please make sure that you utilize the APA format when citing. Students are encouraged to include statistics, graphs, charts, and images within their presentations to make it dynamic. Okay. Now, when you are preparing your presentation, make sure that you assume that the audience has no knowledge about the topic. Okay. So you need to make sure, okay, pretend that you're explaining this to kindergarten students. Okay. They have no knowledge about business, about any of that. So don't assume. Explain it with as much detail as possible. Now, these are the components that are going to be covered in your presentation. The first thing is you're going to define and explain in detail what a business is. Letter B, you're going to explain the forms of business organizations, including service, merchandising, and manufacturing businesses. Letter C, you're going to provide 5 examples of each type of business, including service, merchandising, and manufacturing. Now, what I've had most of the students do is in one slide, they're going to explain, let's say for example, they're going to explain what a service business is, and in that same slide, they include below 5 examples of a service business. So they have all of the information about service businesses in one slide, and then they cover merchandising. What is merchandising? And then they have 5 examples of that. So that's a very good way to structure those 2 components there. Join them together. But if you want to do an explanation and then just have another slide with the examples, go ahead. It's just that you're going to have more difficulty meeting the notes requirement if you do it that way. Okay. Letter D. You're going to explain each form of business entity in detail, including a sole proprietorship, a partnership, corporations, and limited liability companies. You're going to identify the strengths and weaknesses of each of the mentioned business entities, including sole proprietorship, partnership, corporation, and limited liability company. And you are going to explain in detail the below principles and their importance to financial information, as well as provide one example or scenario of how each principle is applied in the business environment. So you're going to explain about consistency, disclosure, faithful representation, materiality, measurement, historical cost, revenue recognition, and expense recognition. So you're going to explain it. You're going to identify the importance to the financial information, and then you're going to provide an example or a scenario of how these principles are used. Okay? 3 things. Make sure that you address all those 3 things for each principle, for each accounting principle. And last but not least, we have identify and explains the difference between accrual and cash basis accounting. The group project is worth 100 points. 90 points is coming from the presentation. 10 points is coming from the self and peer evaluation. Okay. Each group member needs to complete the self and peer evaluation to obtain the project points. If a student fails to submit the self-evaluation, they're going to earn a 0 for the entire assignment. I want to know your perspective of how each of the students participated in the project. Okay, that includes yourself. You're going to evaluate your group members as well as yourself. Okay, I'm going to utilize the self and peer evaluation to identify and assess each member's role and participation in the project. Please keep all of the group members' correspondence. I've had students claim that they did participate while the group member states they didn't. If you can provide proof of the information, then I will, conduct the research, investigate, and, figure it out. Okay. So please maintain any communication amongst each other. Preferably use, a good source where you can maintain all of that information, and then you can share it if needed. Okay. Each team needs to designate a team leader that is going to be responsible for submitting the final presentation. Okay. So for the final presentation, I only need one submission per group, and then every student needs to complete a self and peer evaluation. And both of these need to be completed by the established deadline. Okay. Okay. So these are the requirements. Print them out and make sure that you address all of them. Okay. I've got the grading criteria. This is how I'm going to grade your project. You can go over the information. Let me see. Wait until it loads. Here we go. Okay. So we have the different components that I'm going to be grading and the points available. Okay. Like you see, the notes are worth 15 points. Okay. The audio is worth 10 points, okay? And the different components, how much they're worth each, for a total of 90 points, okay? So this is how I'm going to grade your presentation, okay? So under the week 4 folder, you're going to have these 2 items, and then I'm going to include the group list as well. Now in week number 5, you are going to actually submit the project. So if you go to week number 5, you're going to have the folder. And you have 2 assignments, okay? The first one is your group project. This is where you're going to upload. Your presentation, okay? 1 presentation per group, okay? So the due date is July the 10th. That is the date that group project number 1 is due. On Sunday, July the 10th at 11 p.m., you must have uploaded the final PowerPoint presentation. I've included the grading criteria and the requirements for your reference. Make sure that you upload the PowerPoint presentation in PowerPoint form, okay? Do not PDF the file. I want the PowerPoint presentation with audio, with notes, okay? So this is where you're going to submit it in week number 5. That's where you're going to submit the actual PowerPoint presentation. And then every student needs to complete the self and peer evaluation. This is very important, okay? Each student needs to complete it, okay? So you're going to download the file. And make sure you fill everything out. I've had so many instances where students don't read the instructions. So please make sure that you read the instructions. You're going to start on the very top with your name, okay? Enter your name, okay? That way I know that this is your group self and peer evaluation. In the first row, it says names of students, okay? You're going to enter all of your group members' names, including yourself, okay? And then you're going to rate each of the group members based on the following scale, okay? Please include a rating for yourself in one of the columns. So if the student all or most of the time completed the specific task, you're going to enter a 3. Sometimes, occasionally, a 2, 1, rarely, or 0, never. So you're going to enter the name here. Let's say, for example, my first group member is Jose Perez. Okay, I'm going to put his name. And then Jose, he sometimes participated. He maintained a positive attitude. He contributed to the work. Okay. And then he participated in the recorded. And then sometimes he would respond to emails. And then rarely met the deadlines. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to add 2 plus 3 is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So I'm going to give 14 points to Jose. Okay, and then you're going to do the next group member. Okay, and then you're going to include yourself. Okay, Dr. Mercado. You're going to put your name wherever is it that you want to include yourself. It doesn't matter. But you're going to basically list all of your group members' names and you're going to give them a grade. Okay. So just complete the form. You're going to save the form. And then you're going to upload it. So just make sure that you include your name on the top. You enter all of your group members' names. Okay, and then you grade each or you rate each of your group members for the respective items outlined here. Okay, so this is the actual presentation. Save it and upload it. Okay, so you're gonna upload it here. Okay, and then that is it. Make sure that you do it by also July the 10th. Okay, so that is the group project. Okay, you started it on week number 4 and you submitted on week number 5. Okay, please make sure that you get with your group members immediately if you have any issues, questions, concerns, you need any clarification. Please let me know as soon as possible. Remember, my office hours for the summer are Monday through Thursdays from 10 to 11 a.m. But you can always send me a Blackboard message or an email or a pronto message, and I will try to get back to you as soon as possible. Do not leave everything for the last minute. I've had students where, it's Sunday, the day of the submission, and they still have not begun working on the assignment, and they can't get a hold of half of their group. Okay, that is not on me, that is on you, because I've given you 2 full weeks to work on the project. Okay, the project is worth 100 points. That is 10% of your overall grade. That is a letter grade. You don't do it, you drop a letter grade. So it is very, very important that you get this project done, that you work well with your group members, and that you deliver the best presentation possible. Okay, so that is basically it for me going over the group project. I just wanted to highlight where you can get the information. Week 4, you begin working on the project. Week 5, you submit the actual project. Okay, so that is it. Like I stated, if you have questions, concerns, do not hesitate to contact me. I wish you the best in this group project. Please try to make the best out of it. Get to know your group members, help each other out, no bullying, and let's try to make this a successful project. Okay, and that is it. Until next time. Thank you.